Oh, hi. Got me playing with myself. No, that's not what I meant. Hey, so the new Star Wars movie out, the Star Wars The Last Jedi. And being a Star Wars fan, as you can tell, I am totally not looking forward to seeing this movie at all. And mainly because of The Force Awakens. I've seen every Star Wars movie in theaters since Empire Strikes Back. For whatever, long story, but I didn't see Star Wars in theaters. I did when they did the re-release, but not originally. But I've been a big fan. I've seen every Star Wars of the original trilogy, each movie at least 13 times. That's when I stopped counting, was at 13. I've seen it a few times since then, so a conservative estimate would be somewhere between 15 and 20 times that I've seen each of the original trilogy movies. The reason I didn't like The Force Awakens is because it was the same movie. It really was. In 1999, a buddy of mine, hey Josh, if you're out there, I hope you're doing well. Anyway, buddy and I, we went to go see the Star Wars movie, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I am the only one that went in costume. I can't believe I was the only one. We went to the midnight showing. I was the only one in a costume. And by the way, if you're going to dress up in costume, make sure you go opening day. If you go opening day in costume, you're a fan. If it's been out 3 weeks, you're just a weirdo. Okay, I'm just pointing that out. But we went to the midnight showing of The Phantom Menace. It was the first showing in theaters in our town, and we went. And this is a true story. It was really exciting because it was like a festive environment. It was really exciting. We were all pumped. This is the first Star Wars movie in, 15, 16 years? We were excited. As the lights went down, that George Lucas Limited logo appeared on the screen, and then those infamous words, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. And from the darkness of the theater, a voice rang out, "Oh, I've seen this one!" The entire theater burst into laughter. It was an immense laughter like you couldn't even imagine. And then just as quickly, it died back down. So there was like a moment or two before. Dun, 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 dun. It was before that. It was incredible. The reason it was so funny is because The Phantom Menace was a very different movie from what the others were. Had that happened to The Force Awakens, it wouldn't have been funny because we have seen this movie already. It was the same movie. A buddy of mine, he also a fellow YouTuber, Fat Man on Campus. Check out his YouTube channel. He said it was good because it had a different plot, and I'm like, plot? It didn't have it was the same plot as the other movies. Case in point, in both movies, basically you have somebody that lives on a desert planet. They have a dead-end job. They're both pilots. They have no real family to speak of. They're kind of loners. They come across a robot with important information that has to be taken to the rebellion. They team up with a stranger, and they are being pursued by the Empire and have to get off the planet. Same setup from Star Wars and Force Awakens. Even to the point, the ship they use to get off the planet is the same flippin' ship. The Millennium Falcon. It was the same ship. I couldn't believe it. It's just crazy. So speaking of the Millennium Falcon, the comment is made that the Millennium Falcon is garbage, is the exact term they use. What about that ship? That was garbage! By the way, in the original Star Wars movie, Luke called it a piece of junk. They're kind of like doing this little wink, wink, nudge, nudge thing. It's like, hey, we called it the same thing, but we use different dialogue. See what we're doing there? So let's say, just for the sake of discussion, that Bo and Luke Duke are running from Roscoe. and Roscoe P. Coltrane from the Dukes of Hazzard, and they're running from him, and they need a car to get away.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
And one of them says, "Hey, how about if we take that car?" And the other one says, "No, we don't want that one. It's a bad car." And then for whatever reason, they decide, yes, we're going to go ahead and take that car. And so they steal the car, and that's basically what they're doing. They're stealing it. And they then proceed to drive it like they drive it. Now, they don't know anything about this car. This car could have not had an oil change in, Lord only knows how long. They haven't checked the tire pressure. They don't know anything about this car. They're just getting in it. They know it's a piece of junk, but they're going to get in it and they're going to drive it like they drive it. Really? Are you serious? I mean, Rey gets into the Millennium Falcon. Luckily, she's a pilot, and basically flies like she flies, the way she does. What? How? I don't understand. I have had problems with this movie, and and by the way, isn't somebody living in that thing? I mean, when that thing takes off, it looks like it's basically somebody's house. During that whole flight sequence, I thought there was, some aliens would come out with kids going, I thought somebody's living in there. It's like they're stealing somebody's RV or something. It's like, what? In the original Star Wars movie, the camera movements and everything, I thought were fine. In this movie, J.J. Abrams goes out of his way to make it look more exciting and more adventurous. There was a clip that came out right as when the movie did come out that showed the flight of the Millennium Falcon on the desert planet, and it was basically just doing this little. Here's the clip. I don't know about you, but I'm glad I didn't pay the extra money to see it in 3D, because I would have gotten motion sick just watching that thing. Sorry about your popcorn. Another thing I had a problem with was the crashing of the Millennium Falcon. No, not at the end. I'm talking about at the beginning of the movie when Rey takes off in it. How is that thing even space-worthy? I mean, when they get into the vacuum of space, how are they not sucked out a hole the size of a quarter? By the way, you don't live through that, just so you know. But how is that thing even space-worthy? I don't understand it. Oh, well, look, they had to stop and fix things. Yeah, once they escaped and got into space, it could relax a little bit. She didn't even think that thing would make it off the ground, and yet they could crash into. Oh, I had problems with this movie. Oh, and at the end of the movie, when they crash the Millennium Falcon onto the planet, I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, I've seen this before. Yeah, like I said, this movie I'd seen before. And also when they're on the Falcon and they're going through things, they find the ball that Luke Skywalker used to practice his Force skills with Obi-Wan in the original Star Wars movie. You would think that somebody somewhere along the lines would have cleaned out the Millennium Falcon and, I don't know, maybe had a docking bay sale or something, whatever the space version of a garage sale is, and gotten rid of some of the crap that's in there. I mean, that ball that Luke used in Star Wars is still on the ship. And apparently nobody plays space chess anymore. I mean, I don't know how long it takes for these trips, but you think somebody would get bored, I don't know, start up a game. Also, I find it very interesting that Han and Chewie just happened to find the Millennium Falcon as quickly as they did. Now, I do understand they were looking for it, and they do make references to, how quickly they did find it. Apparently, there was a tracking device on it, but even if they were in the same solar system, what are the odds of that? Another issue I have with this movie is Han and Chewie's relationship with the bowcaster. What the heck? These guys have known each other for years, probably 30, 40, 50 years. Who knows how long the Chewbacca's life debt has been going on with Han Solo. But you would think that at some point in time in their relationship together, they'd be down at the laser gun range, just shooting guns, practicing or something. And you'd think at least once Han Solo would turn to Chewie and say, you know what? Let me try that bowcaster. I'd like to try that out. And just, you'd think at least once that would have happened. But no, that happens in this movie twice. Twice they do that. And Han really likes the bowcaster. Like I said, I have problems with this movie. Now, regarding Chewie's bowcaster, according to canon, the bowcaster has got such a severe kick to it that only a Wookiee could fire the silly thing. If a human had tried it, it'd dislocate their shoulder. Wait, what's that? Oh, Disney's not following canon. So personally, I think the only reason they even bring attention to the bowcaster is so they can sell more toys. Yep, here it is. Star Wars Nerf Chewbacca Blaster, available at $27.99 at Walmart. Oh look, you can even get it with the creepy Chewbacca mask made popular by Chewbacca Mom.
That's not me making that noise, it's the mask!
That video, the one I'm looking at right now, 10 million views. That 10 million views, that thing has been viewed 10 million. I'll be lucky to get 1,000 views by the end of the year. This thing has gotten 10 million views. Holy smokes. According to this, her original video had 140 million views. At least I'm trying. And she filmed it in her car. Really? I mean, what is it with people filming videos in their car? So two guys are on a road trip through Kentucky. Okay, good point. I stand corrected. I'll shut up. And what's up with that silver stormtrooper? As soon as I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, that looks familiar. Where do I know that from? I know, right? That's exactly what I was thinking. I bet that's exactly where they got the idea for that character. I mean, it's basically a cross between a stormtrooper, a Cylon, and the hot blonde in a red dress. That's exactly where they got that idea. Oh, and they just did that in order to sell more toys. Oh, and just wait for the cosplay costumes. Another area of parallel or same movie is the Empire's weapon. They always gotta have a weapon to scare the people with, and it's basically the exact same weapon. It's basically just a bigger Death Star. I mean, they even show the Death Star and the new Star Killer. By the way, random trivia: Star Killer was Luke's last name in the original drafts that George Lucas was writing. Around those times, Charles Manson was going around killing people, and he'd been arrested, and that whole thing had been going on. When George Lucas was telling somebody about his script, they asked, well, is it a story about a serial killer? And he's like, no. So he changed it to Skywalker, which was another name that he had been, had. He just was trying to... Anyway, Luke's Star Killer was the character's original name. Anyway, so they brought that back in. So another one of those wink, wink, nudge, nudge, see what we did? Just for the fans. Useless trivia. Anyway, remember back in the 90s when cell phones were about the size of a shoe? Some of you remember that? Maybe some of you have heard of that? So anyway, cell phones have been getting smaller and smaller until they realized you could watch porn on them, and now the screens are getting bigger, and now people are taking pictures with tablets. So my question is, it's been about 30 years since the events of Return of the Jedi has taken place. And so you'd think that over a span of 30 years, technology would have gotten better, and the technology would have gotten smaller. But no, it's bigger. It's bigger. They have to put the new weapon into an entire planet. Really? And also it's called Starkiller. So basically what it does is it draws the power of a sun in order to make the weapon work. I guess you could say they've gone green, and at least it's solar powered. Boom. But the weapon is the same. It destroys planets. It does 3 or 4 at a time now. But and by the way, I have a problem with when they're blowing up the planet. I think there's like 3 of them at the same time that they're blowing up, and Han is on the planet looking up and seeing the planets being blown up at the same time during the day. I'm no scientist, I admit, but I believe that having 3 planets that close to each other would cause gravitational forces on the planets that would cause land tides, and just don't think the planets would be habitable. I really don't. I got problems. And also, they're blowing up 3 planets, just happens to be not the planet that Han's on. Amazing coincidence. Or, I don't know, maybe there was a line of dialogue. I don't know. I had problems with this movie. So it would have been kind of at least interesting had the weapon the Empire was using was at least different. I mean, they're going to be calling it Starkiller. In the previous movies, the Death Star destroys a planet. It's called Starkiller. Why doesn't it destroy the star? If you destroy the star of a solar system, it blows up the entire solar system and everybody in the system dies. Not just the planets. It would have at least been different. I had problems with this movie. So if you've not seen Star Wars The Force Awakens, lucky you. Sorry. So if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, Han Solo dies. From what I understand from rumors around the internet going on for years, Harrison Ford never really liked playing Han Solo. In fact, from things I have read, Harrison Ford wasn't sure if he wanted to come back and be in Return of the Jedi. That's why in Empire Strikes Back he was frozen in carbonite. That way they left it open so that way he could have been, if he didn't want to come back, he was just in carbonite and they wrote him off and the movie continues. Or if he did come back, they could go in and save him, and he obviously did come back. This whole thing that George Lucas has been saying for years about how he had this entire story all written out, it's all bogus. It's not true. He was pulling this stuff out of his the whole time. It's just totally not true. Personally, I think that Harrison Ford didn't like doing the movies because he was not the lead character. Which is really silly because, Harrison, come here. You are everybody's favorite. Trust me. Sure, Luke had the cool weapon and the cool, force powers and stuff, but come on, Harrison Ford played Han Solo, the coolest character on the whole show. He was a badass. I mean, he was the pilot. I mean, he was the hero of the show. I mean, he really was. He was, like I said, he was a badass. He shot first. Look it up. He shot first.
Yes, I bet you have.
And in front in a crowded bar, and nobody said anything. Basically, all he said was, "Sorry about the mess." Nobody cared. Han was everybody's favorite. Let's just be honest. I don't know what they had to do in order to get Harrison Ford to play in this movie, but if you look at the movie poster, he is dead center, right smack dab in the middle, in the movie poster. He was also listed first in the end credits. Both times, when they do the individual credits and then the scroll, he's listed first each time. I don't know what they paid him, but I bet it was a lot. And I bet he got a good chunk of the toy royalties for having his likeness used. I don't know. Harrison Ford should have stuck in there for just 2 more movies. It would have been great, but no, he's not the star of the show, I guess, so he doesn't want to be in it. However, he'll be in a crappy Indiana Jones movie, and don't get me started on that one. Oh my god, that last 4th one. Anyway, I won't even go there. Here's another crazy thing about Star Wars: The Force Awakens. These are promotional products that were made by Campbell's. They have got Darth Vader on this one and R2-D2 on this one. They're basically just chicken noodle soup with little Star Wars, noodle-shaped products in it. Darth Vader, not in the movie. His mask was, kinda. R2-D2 spent most of the movie under a tarp. Not a main character in the movie, yet somehow they used R2 and Darth. Yeah, and of course I bought them. Why? A, I'm a Star Wars fan, and B, they were dirt cheap because nobody else was buying them. I bought them on clearance. I mean, they were like 25 cents a can. I mean, I'm all set if I get the flu. Let's put it that way. But nobody was buying these. Apparently, not even the people at Campbell's and their marketing department watched this movie because they picked the wrong people to be on these packages. This movie was just plain awful. So needless to say, I didn't like The Force Awakens. I thought it was an awful movie. Rogue One was awesome. Loved Rogue One. Rogue One was a fabulous, fabulous movie. Really enjoyed it. Not looking forward to The Last Jedi at all. Quick true story. I went to go see the Star Wars movie, The Revenge of the Sith, in theaters, dressed as Darth Vader. I got booed and popcorn thrown at me. Good times, good times. Could have been worse, though. It was actually in the same movie theater where the Aurora shooting took place. Could have been worse. Could have been worse. So, what did you think of The Force Awakens? Did you enjoy the movie? Am I totally off base? Am I totally wrong? Or do you agree with me? I'd love to hear your comments. Start the argument in the comment section below. Give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, whether you liked it or not. Just because I'm curious. I'm just curious as to what you thought. Do you like this kind of video? Do you like the blue screen or the green screen? Do you like it? I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts. Feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, neighbors, bounty hunters, Jedi, Dark Jedi, anybody. Just share it. I'd love to get over to 1,000 views by the end of the year. That'd be awesome. I would really like that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. And keep laughing. See, one of the things you need to keep in mind is I thought about doing this video for a long time, and I was putting it off because I'd have to rewatch The Force Awakens in order to put this thing together. And what I do for you guys, you just have no idea. Tearing up my shit. See, Star Wars, the Phantom, not the Phantom is, Revenge of the Sith. Oh, I gotta talk about Han. Han died. By the way, I signed up for air piano. I was gonna sign up for air guitar, but it was full.